Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. As per usual, let's go over the stock, let's go over NVIDIA, let's talk about what is happening. The chip sector is getting absolutely decimated. And yeah, I'll give you my thoughts about it moving forward. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my analysis and technical analysis, etc., I do have a membership section on YouTube. The link is down below in the description of the video, where I constantly share my thoughts for just $3 a month. I constantly share my thoughts mainly on Tesla stock in that tier, and sometimes I'll share bonus stocks like McDonald's today, Starbucks, for instance, right? I've been sharing today. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that, plus access to my NVIDIA daily updates as well. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it, right? What is NVIDIA doing and what can we expect moving forward? So this morning, I actually told my members how NVIDIA is approaching right here. NVIDIA is now approaching a major resistance potential around 141. A close back above the 21/9 EMA would be a good sign for bulls. So this is what the morning looked like. We were rocketing pretty much right into it, right? But unfortunately, it ended up acting as a massive resistance, and they ended up crossing back down. But the thing that I don't like the most is the fact that we closed below the 50 EMA once again. Now, obviously, we'll talk about the good news first, because we did it before. And then instead, what did we do? We ended up actually gapping right back above it. And tomorrow is CPI. So is there a chance that we gap above it as well, and then we continue with a move up similar to this? There is. There absolutely is. Is that a chance I'm willing to bet on? No, it's not, right? It's absolutely not, because closing below the 50 EMA ultimately is still, bearish. Really, to put it simply, it's bearish. It's not a good sign, and until proven otherwise, I assume bearish continuation, right? That's just kind of how these things work. I'm not going to try to gamble and hope that it gaps up again, because who knows, right? Who knows? So the good news is this, right? The good news is this. We did it once before. We closed below once before, and we gapped up once before. So that's the good news, right? It's not amazing news, but it is potentially good news. But you can see, the white line, whenever we're below the white line, usually nothing really all that good came out. So for instance, you can see we had a massive sell-off here, and then we had nice little support. We had a nice little, push up, similar to what we did recently. And then we had a nice candle that closed, well below it. And we turned it back into a resistance essentially, and we ultimately move down. So, nothing usually that good happens below the 50 EMA. So you want to be really careful. Now, the other good news I guess I can say is the fact that we are at, or close rather, I should say, to, major support. We are close to a major support that could be enough to find buyers to push NVIDIA back up, right? It's not all bad news, right? It's not all bad news, mainly because we're so close to another very strong, powerful support. And that, of course, is going to be the low 130s. I've been mentioning this level for quite some time. In fact, I actually pretty much predicted this move almost to perfection, saying how, we made a lower low, fresh lower low, right? Obviously making higher highs the whole time. And so we made this fresh lower low, make a fresh lower high, and then ultimately at the very least make an equal low here. Or obviously the bearish side is we lose this level, we go below 130 and we continue making lower lows. At that point, I think it'll get very bearish overall. But the one thing I'll be watching for is this, right? I want to see how it reacts around this level. I want to see if it can sort of contain this selling pressure that's very aggressive, and either create a double bottom pattern, or we just essentially bounce off of this trend line, right? This trend line that is essentially a rising channel, or a rising wedge, whatever you want to call it. If I zoom out like this, you can see it, right? We are approaching it. We are very close to it. So if there is still a place for NVIDIA to find buyers and to potentially save what looks a little bit of a dire situation, we're pretty close, man. We're only a few dollars away, like 132, something like that, 133. Like that is the spot to do it. So it has to happen there. It pretty much has to happen there. Unfortunately, this does make this kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern, which was the bullish one, a little bit less convincing. I'm not gonna lie, because we're kind of entering the territory of the head. I don't like that, and it still makes this bearish one up here arguably more convincing, because it's still very much intact, and the neckline, like I said, is pretty much the very low 130s. So we do not want to lose that. Watch for that moving forward. Very important. Now let's use the same tactic we used last time to find this bottom, and that was, of course, removing these bad boys here, bringing out the band's regression and going to the 4-hour chart. Let's take a quick look and see what that looks like. And you can see NVIDIA is starting to get to those same levels that it has found bounces before. So this is the other good news, right? We're pretty much at the exact same situation that we were right here, where I called the bottom, right? Now, this one I'm a little bit less convinced of personally, especially with CPI tomorrow. So let's see. I don't want to make any promises, of course, but same thing. Every single time we've come to these levels and the RSI has been also oversold, it has found a bounce. It has found a bounce, and it has went back above. So let's see how this plays out, right? Let's see how this plays out. That is the potential still, right? That is essentially hope, if you will, for the bulls. And let's see if it ends up playing out the exact same way that it did all these 3 other times. And so far they've been obviously very, very promising. So let's see if that plays out. Let's see if that plays out. CPI should probably determine if that's going to happen or not. Just the one thing I don't like is the fact that, you know, this one was more of a gap down kind of way to scare people out, if anything, I guess you can say. And then we gap back above. So, you know, it's a little bit of a different situation. Here, we're just bleeding through it. We're just bleeding through it, right? It's not a gap down. It's just we're bleeding and closing right through it throughout the intraday price action, especially after having this massive rejection up here. It's a little bit of a different situation, and that's why I'm a little bit less confident about it personally. But I wouldn't say all hope is lost because, again, I still view us as at major support, pretty much down right here in the very mid to low 130s, right? There is a place to bounce. If there is a place to save the stock, this is where I want to see it. And then I'd want to see it come back up above the 50 EMA and close above it once again. And if we see that, I do want to make it clear, if we do find this bounce, if we do find this massive support, and we do close above the 50 EMA again before the 21 and the 9 cross below the 50 EMA, I think NVIDIA will actually look extremely appealing. And not only extremely appealing, I think a very large reversal to the upside will occur if those situations and, you know, indicators, if you will, align. It absolutely can, but I need to see it happen, right? I'm not going to gamble and assume it's going to happen. I want to see it happen. And if I see that happening, I'll let you guys know. Of course, my members will know pretty much as I see it, but that to me will be very promising. And that to me will make me want to go long, probably even quite aggressively if I see that, because that to me will tell me that this was essentially a massive bear trap, a false breakdown from what I will, you know, would assume would be, into a very bullish, beautiful looking reversal potential. Because again, false breakdowns or breakouts, I view them as very, you know, good for the opposite direction. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at NVIDIA right now. Overall, kind of bearish. I'm not in it. I'm not touching it. I'm not playing it. I'm just observing for now. I'm waiting for something a little bit more concrete. I'm not getting anything concrete right now. So again, I'm watching to see how it reacts here. Maybe I'll enter a position down here with a very tight stop loss. I'm just gonna, you know, watch for now. But again, if we find a bid around this area down here and we close back above the 50 EMA before these guys up here cross down below the white line, essentially the 50 EMA, I think NVIDIA will have a phenomenal reversal. I really do. I actually think it will reverse very aggressively, because a lot of people right now are starting to write this name off. They're starting to write the name off. They're starting to put a lot of, you know, they're pretty much saying that the king is dead, right? You know, it's not looking too hot, I'll be completely honest, but I still think there is one major last opportunity here. So let's see how it plays out for that. Now, let's take a quick look at options flow and see what that's looking like for NVIDIA. As I over here pull it up, it has to refresh. Let me go ahead and try that again. Again, don't forget, we have, of course, CPI tomorrow. So let's see. So closing flow, nice bullish calls into the close. I like to see that. However, what I don't like to see is this, right? This is a lot of bearish flow and very aggressive bearish flow. 4.2 million, 3.4 million, 1.5 million, 3.2 million, 2.9 million. And in between that, we have a nice little lonely 3.4 million bull. But the thing that's interesting to me the most about these is the fact that they're all for this Friday, right? All of these are for this Friday. All these $1 million puts I just mentioned, even the call, but the puts, they're all for this Friday. It's not, you know, very far away. So maybe they expect a massive gap down on CPI. I'm not entirely sure, but watch for this moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. This is very crucial to pay attention to. And the thing is they bought these. You can see the spot. Spot is essentially the price the stock was at when these were at purchase, or at the very least reported on the platform. 134, right? They did this when NVIDIA was at 134, so it's technically higher than when they bought this, as far as we're aware. So let's see. Maybe they expect a gap down. Maybe they expect it to, you know, move back down into the very low 130s, and then there's a chance we get a nice massive stop hunt, and then we move back up higher. But again, I need to see confirmation. I'm not trying to bottom pick this just yet, and if I do, it'll be probably pretty light. But yeah, let's just, you know, again, I think it's a wait and see type angle for now. Let's see. You know what I'm looking for. You know what I'm eyeballing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.